Welcome to our video tutorial on using the Bureau of Disabilities Services Gateway Online Application System. The Bureau of Developmental Disabilities Services administers programs that support children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities to live their best life through community supports and residential options. Services are delivered using an individualized, person centered approach where all people have equal access and opportunity to realize their self defined good life. Our programs include home and community based services, which are currently the Family Supports Waivers and the Community Integration and Habilitation Waivers, as well as supervised group living, which is also commonly referred to as group homes. Beads envisions a community where all people have equal access and opportunity to realize their good life. We are committed to partnering with individuals and their families and professionals to ensure they have person centered services that empower people with disabilities and their families by connecting them to the resources and supports to live their best life. Our core value is that all people have the right to live, love, work, learn, play, and pursue their dreams. The BEADS mission is to connect people with disabilities and their families to resources and supports to live their best life. As part of our ongoing efforts to achieve this mission, the BEADS Gateway provides individuals and families with the opportunity to apply for all BEADS services online. It is our hope that by offering this online option, our application process becomes more accessible to those who are interested in the supports available through BEADS. In addition to this video, we also have a step-by-step guide and a frequently asked questions document to assist you in using the gateway when applying for our services. Those additional resources can be found on our website. The BEADS Gateway is an additional avenue to apply for BEADS services. There have been no changes made to how submitted applications are processed. Paper applications are still available by contacting your local BEADS office or can be downloaded and printed from our website. A list of all BEADS district offices and their contact information is also available at this web address. The opening page of the BEADS Gateway includes information that is important to know before you begin the application. Let's take a closer look. Before you begin the application, you will need the information listed here: the applicant's name, social security number or ITIN, date of birth, their mailing address, their current physical address, if it's different from where they receive mail, their phone number and email address, if they have one. You will also need to know the age when their developmental or intellectual disability was diagnosed and provide a short description of how the disability affects their daily life. For minors and adults with a legal representative or someone legally designated to help make decisions with and for them, you will also need the name of their legal guardian or representative, their relationship to the applicant, their mailing address, and their contact information, such as phone and email address if they have one. Beads will also gather some additional information that you are not required to answer. However, your answers to these questions can help improve our services and supports. It's important to note that your answers will not be used to discriminate or to make decisions about eligibility or access to services. You will be asked for the applicant's Medicaid status and number, current living arrangement, gender, marital status, education, race and ethnicity, preferred language, and if the applicant has ever been assessed by vocational rehabilitation. Before you begin, there are a few important things to remember. As you are entering your information, all fields with red asterisks are required to be answered. You will not be able to advance to the next page until the information is entered. You cannot save your progress and finish later. If you stop working on the application and there is no activity for 15 minutes, the application will time out and you will have to start a new application. All information must be completed once you begin the application, so please be sure you have all of the required information before beginning. Lastly, you will not have the ability to upload any documents at this time. Any additional information that you would like to provide can be provided during your intake meeting with the BEADS office. If at any time you are unable to click Next to advance to the next step, the error message preventing you from advancing will appear at the top of the page. Simply enter the required information being requested and click Next to proceed to the next step. At the bottom of the welcome page, you will have the opportunity to print the instructions. Note that the Start the Application button is faded. Once you click the box indicating you have read the instructions, the Start the Application button is available. Let's click it and begin. When filling out the application, the applicant refers to the individual who is in need of BEAD services. In step 1, you will be asked who is filling out the application. If you are helping someone apply, as in this example, click that button. This applies to anyone who may be helping an individual or family with the application, including if you are the parent of a minor child or legal guardian. You will then select your relationship to the applicant from the drop-down menu. In this example, I have selected Family from the drop-down menu below the question. Next, you will be asked for the name of the applicant. You must enter at least the applicant's first and last name. If the applicant does not have a first name or it is unknown, you may check the No First Name box to continue. Enter a middle name and choose a suffix type if applicable. Next, enter the applicant's Social Security number. If you do not have a Social Security number, in the drop-down, select ITIN and enter the ITIN number. Scrolling down the page, we see that it is required to enter the applicant's date of birth. Enter that now. The last question in step 1 asks if the applicant currently has Medicaid. If they do, selecting yes will open a new field for you to enter their Medicaid ID number, also known as the RID. Please note, it is not required that the applicant have Medicaid before applying for BEAD services, nor must the Medicaid ID number be included to continue if yes was selected. Here and throughout the application, click the Next button in the lower right corner of the page to advance to the next page. After clicking Next, if the Social Security number or ITIN entered is identified as having been used in a BEADS application for services in the last 30 days, You will be asked if you want to continue. You may select continue or stop. If you select stop, all data will be lost. If you receive this message and have not applied using that Social Security number or ITIN number in the last 30 days and realize that you entered the number incorrectly, you may still continue your application. Press the back button to correct the Social Security number. You may also continue the application if you receive this message when you have entered the correct Social Security number and have not submitted an application in the last 30 days. The BEADS office will work with you during the intake process to find the error and make any necessary corrections. Step 2 begins by asking about the current living arrangement that describes where the applicant lives. In this example, group home has been selected. In step 2, it is required to enter at least one of the following three items to continue: the applicant's mailing or current physical address, a primary phone number, or an email address. It is okay to enter all three items. In this application, the mailing address has been entered. Also, the checkbox indicating that the applicant's current address is different from their mailing address has been checked. The fields asking for the current address have been filled out. If the applicant has a primary phone number, click the primary box next to the phone type, then enter the phone number. Enter any additional phone numbers for the applicant in this section. Enter the applicant's email address if they have one. Step 2 ends with two required questions. The first one: at what age was the applicant diagnosed with an intellectual or developmental disability, requires the age to be entered in the text field. If the diagnosis was at birth, enter 0. The last part requires you to briefly describe how the applicant's disability affects their daily life. The character limit for this field is 1,000 characters. Please be aware that only a brief description is necessary. When you meet with your BEADS district office staff, you will have the opportunity to discuss this in more detail. Notice the back button at the bottom left of the page. If at any time you want to move back one step, click that button. Let's click Next and go to step 3. When clicking Next, an address validation box will appear for each address entered in step 2. You may accept the address suggested by the U.S. Postal Service, which is the preferred action if the address displayed is correct, or you may select Use My Address. In step 3, BEADS collects information on the applicant that is not required but can help us improve our services and supports. The first question, what is the applicant's gender, has options to select from the drop-down menu, which include male, female, and I prefer not to answer. The applicant's marital status may also be selected from the drop-down menu and includes single, married, divorced, and other. The next question asks if the applicant is currently a student. Selecting yes will bring up the required question: what type of educational program is the applicant currently enrolled in? From the selections available in the drop-down menu, choose the one that best describes the applicant's grade or educational program. If you answer no to the question, is the applicant currently a student? You will then be asked, what is the highest level of education obtained? This is not a required question if no is selected. Again, you may select from the options available in the drop-down menu. Scrolling down the page, the next questions ask about the applicant's ethnicity and race. First, is the applicant Hispanic or Latino? Following that, what is the applicant's race? Clicking the text box allows you to select from a pre-populated list. You may click and add as many as desired. Then, BEADS asks for the applicant's preferred language. You may select from the list of 21 language options that includes ASL, nonverbal, and other by using the drop-down menu. If you select other, please enter the preferred language in the text box to the right of the drop-down menu. The next question asks if the applicant has ever been assessed by vocational rehabilitation. Please note that there is no requirement to have been assessed by vocation rehabilitation. Select yes or no. Lastly, the final question of step 3 asks if the applicant has someone who has been legally designated to help make decisions. It is required to choose yes or no to this question. Please note, if the applicant's date of birth entered in step 1 makes them a minor, then this question will not appear for you. Instead, you will be required to enter the information in step 4. If you answer no to this question and the applicant is an adult, then you will be taken to step 5. In this example, because the applicant is an adult and yes is selected, we will be taken to step 4 after clicking next. The legal representative's first and last name is required. Just as with step 1 and the applicant's first name, the no first name box must be selected if it is unknown. Next, you will select the legal representative's relationship to the applicant from the drop-down menu. Here, I have selected legal representative of person. Like before with the applicant's contact information, one of the 3 following items is required to be entered for the legal representative: the mailing or current physical address, a primary phone number, or an email address. It is okay to enter all 3 items. Then you will enter the legal representative's mailing address. Using the drop-down menu, you may select the county from the list, or you may start typing the county name and it will populate from the list. If the legal representative has an international address, checking the international address box will allow you to enter the address in a text field rather than in the format shown here. You will be asked if the legal representative's current address is different from their mailing address. If so, checking the current address is different from mailing box will add another section for the current address to be entered. Continuing down the page, enter the legal representative's phone number. You may designate the preferred or primary number to be used by checking the box next to the phone number. Next, you will enter the legal representative's email address if they have one. Choose one of the 21 languages preferred by the individual. The last question in step 4 asks if the applicant has a second legal representative. If yes is selected, all the same questions and fields from step 4 will display again and will need to be entered for the second legal representative. For this example, we will select no. Let's click next to move on to step 5. In step 5, you will be asked to review the information you have entered. You may use the Edit section buttons to the right of each group to return to that section and edit the information. After editing the section, you may click Return to Summary at the bottom right of the page edited. You may edit as many sections as necessary. Once the information has been verified and edited, click Next. The last step before submitting the application is to sign it electronically. In the example used today, the legal representative's signature will be captured by checking the certification box. In any instance where a legal representative or legal guardian is in place, they must check the certification box. If the applicant is an adult with no legal representative or legal guardian, then they must check the certification box. The signature of a minor child or an adult with a legal representative is not required. However, BEADS encourages that the individual in need of supports participates in all aspects of the process to the greatest extent possible. Therefore, the applicant will always have the ability to check the certification box as well, but is not required to do so. You are now ready to submit the application by clicking Submit. Once you hit Submit, you will only have one opportunity to print or download a copy of the completed application. It is recommended you click Print and Submit so that you have a copy for your records. If you select Submit Only, you will not have the opportunity to save or print a copy of the application submitted to BEADS. Once you select Submit, a confirmation message will display. A representative from your BEADS office will contact you within 15 days to discuss next steps. If you do not hear from the BEADS office within 15 days, please do not submit a new application. Instead, contact your local BEADS office to inquire about the status of your application. The downloaded version of the application should be available at the bottom of your internet page or in your computer's download folder. Click on the file to view its related contents. The downloaded application PDF includes a list of all the information entered, a completed application state form, and a confirmation of submission. If the intent of your application was for the Family Supports Waiver, you may want to review the Family Supports Checklist, which provides information on what to expect through the process. The link to the checklist is also available on the confirmation page in Gateway. In addition, you can obtain a copy of the Confirmation of Diagnoses, or COD form, located at the link on your screen. As part of the application process, this form will need to be completed and signed by a physician involved in the care of the applicant. This must be a medical doctor, an MD, or a doctor of osteopathic medicine, a DO, currently involved in the applicant's care. This does not have to be their diagnosing physician. You may bring this completed form when you meet with the BEADS representative, but are not required to do so. If you need assistance getting this form completed, the BEADS representative will be happy to assist you. The link to the confirmation of diagnoses form is also available on the confirmation page in Gateway. If you need assistance, please contact your local district office. You will find this district map and contact for each location at this web address. There is also a link available at the bottom of each page of the BEADS Gateway. We look forward to meeting you and supporting you in obtaining your vision of a good life.